Greetings, good people. Hopefully, everyone can hear me well. Thank you for joining us today in this live stream. It is my pleasure and honor to speak with one of my spiritual mentors who has just been such a foundation for me during this year, last year and a half. I don't know, the times are just going, but an incredible person. But I just want to first introduce myself and then what this live stream is about, and then I'll bring her on. So my name is Barbara Ohuninifa. Some folks know me as Barbara Pamplin. Some folks know me as Barbara Williams. Some folks know me as B-Dub. But whatever the case, I am that same person evolved over time. And this channel and all the work that I do, Beautiful, Powerful Love, is about empowering Black women to remember who we are. And if you've listened to any of my other live streams or have been to my website, I say that a little bit more explicitly, but I'll let you get into the live stream before I bring on my full self. But it's about remembering who the F we are, because it's that serious and it's that important. And it's that empowerful to remember, is that empowering to remember who we are. And adjacent to that is remembering how to love ourselves. As Black women, we have been demonized. We have been really devalued in the world, I will say, by people, because nature and everything that is creation still recognizes who we are. We just have to recognize who we are and kind of cut away from all of the things that we've absorbed over the years, decades, centuries, couple thousand years since this has been going on. But I digress. Again, my work is about empowering and helping Black women. And the woman I'm about to bring on, her work is that and even more. And she's been doing it far longer. And her work is around empowering women, all women. But of course, as a Black woman, that it stems from that. That's just from my view of it. She has her own definitions of the things. But before I go any further, I'm going to bring her on, and she'll bring us a little taste of how, as we live this goddess-centered lifestyle, how we bring the goddess in with us, how we bring that divinity in with us as women. When we're about to do anything, we're about to make any moves. And so with that, I will bring on my mentor, Tirra Omilade Hargrove. Iya Tirra. I know you informal, but I'm gonna always put some spec on your name.
Thank you, Queen. Thank you. I appreciate you
Thank you
so
for
much.
being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so
Yeah.
if you want to bless us with the invocation, and then I'll get to get asking the questions, but we want to do things right. I've already poured some libation, but let's do this.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much. Yes, I just want to just ask everybody to imagine that we're just together. We're outside somewhere. We're sitting in a circle. You can even close your eyes and just allow yourself to drop into your body, your own personal Mother Earth. And just imagine that our hearts are all connecting together. You just imagine a golden white thread is coming out from your heart, connecting to all of the sisters who are watching here live, watching in the replay. We are all one, we are all connected. And I want you just to imagine that Mother Earth is holding you. You're being held, dear sister. You can just relax, you can let go. You are being held. And we do want to first and foremost honor our ancestors. And I give thanks that the libations have been poured honoring our ancestors on whose shoulders we stand. And we just call in the energy of our ancestors of light to sit here with us today as we women work our magic. We also want to call on our guides. I always call on the ancient mothers. We call on the ancient mothers of the North, the South, the East, and the West to be here with us today. We call on all of the goddesses from all of the traditions from time memorial to sit here and counsel with us today. Some of us may not remember, may not have any connection to the goddess tradition, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, because each and every woman who exists, she reflects the image, the power, the wonder, the glory of the ancient tradition of the feminine way. And so we just honor this tradition of the feminine way. We give thanks for the great mother as she is a reflection. We are reflections of the great mother. And we honor her power, her wonder, and her might. And may the only thing that happened today here and in the workshop that we'll be in, or our healing experience next week, be for our highest and greatest good. And we just give thanks, calling in the energy of the masculine to surround and protect us. Again, as we women work our magic, may the masculine protect us and guard the door as we work our magic. And so, again, may the only thing that happened today be for our highest and greatest good. And we say, Ashe, Ashe,
Ashe.
Asheo. And so
Asheo.
it is.
Woo! I just realized we haven't been in circle for a minute. I missed that.
We took 1 week off, so we're getting back to it on
I
Monday, on
know. I'm
tomorrow.
looking forward to it. I put it in my calendar and spread out the time. Well, carved out the time to make sure I was going to be there. But thank you for that. It's always so empowering to feel that connection, and it's beyond time and space, right? Like feeling connection with others that are hearing the words, but
Mm,
going back, I don't even know how, like to the original woman, if you feel
yeah,
that connection
the
and that
original woman.
strength. Yes.
Yeah.
Whew. Okay, so tell us who you are, what you do. Goddess, body, mind, spirits.
Mhm.
And I know you've been doing this work for a couple of decades. People don't even know and understand because you kind of low key with it. Everybody else be out here as soon as they got something. But you got a couple few thousand people, women that you touch on YouTube and
Mhm.
in classes and coaching and all the thing in circles. So let me be quiet and let you tell your story.
No, you're doing great. Thank you for sharing all of that. Yeah, I always tell people it goes back to my childhood. I was always just a little bit different spiritually, raised up in a traditional Christian child home. Well, maybe in some regards, not traditional because I was raised up Catholic. So to be Black and Catholic in South USA is to be a little bit of an oddity, to say the least. But ever since I was a little girl, I just had a different concept of God. And I just had different beliefs that deviated from, what I was taught at church. So one of the things I remember that really stood out for me is thinking, I just don't believe that there's a hell. Everyone was like, "You're crazy. There for sure is a hell." And I just at that age was like, I just don't think that there is. And then at some point I began to think, why is God just he and not she? Like this isn't making sense to me. But one thing for sure is, as a little girl, I always wanted to do something that helped women and children. I always felt like those two were tied together. If I help women, then that automatically helps children. Not quite sure. It's just what I had an inclination for. And so I was headed down a traditional path of, you go to college and, there was this career path that I was on that has a lot to do with lifestyle and prevention. My training is public health education. And so lifestyle and all of that is just something that I love and I live by. And at some point, I just was like, I've got to strike out on this journey and kind of figure out who I am. And this call that I was hearing and wasn't quite sure what it was, because the other part was what was the religion of my ancestors before the slave
Mhm.
trade? I was just like, I need to know who they were, what were they? And all of this kind of put me on this path of recognizing that I am very spiritual. I've always had a gift of wisdom. Even when I was a little girl, very green, adults would just say, "You're wise beyond your years." And so, slowly but surely, I consider it to be an awakening. It was just this slow awakening. And, when we live in a society where anything other than, traditional religion, whatever that is for people in their part of the world, for me, it was Christianity. If we start deviating from it, it's not easy. But I could not answer it. And I always like to tell people I really took the jump after my mother died. I was just torn up on the inside and I was like, I don't care. I'm getting ready to answer this thing. And eventually I connected with some teachers. I mean, I've studied all kinds of stuff. Oprah Change Your Life TV, Iyanla, they were all there in the beginning. But I actually found some teachers that I could learn from. Iya Oshinike, Baba Kolioso. They're with the Institute of Healing. Wait a minute. Oh my gosh. Anywho, whole life healing. There we go. Here we go. And so I was able to cultivate myself spiritually with them and begin to realize I really do have a knack for wisdom. And so that's when I began to realize I'm good at doing readings. I'm very good at doing readings. So I use oracle decks, and in my late 40s, I began to study astrology, and it just naturally came to me. So I love helping women unapologetically. I love helping women using astrology, divination, and helping them to cultivate a lifestyle that will help us, number one, to heal. But then the other part is we don't want to just heal. We want to heal. We want to evolve. We want to like
Mhm.
create the life that we want and deserve. And that in doing that, it's led me to get other tools such as being a certified coach, a certified NLP practitioner. NLP is neuro linguistic programming, a hypnotherapist, a certified women's circle facilitator, mindfulness coach. And so all of this has just come together so that I have a toolkit that I can put
Mhm.
together and pass that on to different women. I do one-to-one coaching. I do a small group initiation for women who want to pretty much initiate into their own spirituality,
Mhm.
into their own truth. And I do readings, live streams, all that kind of good stuff. So that's just a little bit about me
Beautiful. So,
and how I got here.
one thing I noticed, and you didn't mention it, but I just know this, that you went to, so your undergrad, you went to Spelman
Oh
College,
yes.
historically Black college, women. But I've known that. But what really just clicked is like, oh, you began that women training even then, like just being in an environment with just
Absolutely.
all Black women, like it was even showing up then.
It's truly a part of my path. And yeah, I should have mentioned it actually. So I'm glad you brought it up because that was really like my first initiation outside of just like being around my mother and my aunts and,
Mhm.
just this natural way that Black women have of being in circle with one another and learning from one another and being held and supported, even though I know it can be so convoluted and we can be so toxic and have problems. But there is this natural kind of built in way that we have with each other.
Mhm.
And for me, thankfully, I come from a very loving, feminine line. I love my mother, my aunts, my cousins. I'm very fortunate in that regard. But the biggest step I took was this call. It was a call to go to Spelman. And it really did start cultivating this knack inside of me of being focused on women. I remember when I went there, I was like, man, we've been duped. We would go to like every class I took at Spelman, they were going to teach you about Black women who had made contributions in that particular field. So for instance,
Mhm.
I took pre-calculus. They were like, "Okay, you're going to learn pre-calculus, but guess what? You also about to learn about this Black woman mathematician, who lived like in the 1800s or something like that." So
Right.
it was just an amazing experience to go to Spelman. It is truly a part of my foundation. And honestly, I wish everyone had that opportunity, but I like to think I create these kinds of opportunities.
Mhm.
I mentioned I initiated with my godmother into a goddess. Well, I didn't say this earlier, but I initiated into a goddess tradition. And I was like, this is the first time I didn't felt like I'm back at Spelman. Or with my own initiations, when we just show up on camera and it's just all women, is that not amazing?
It
To just
absolutely
be with
is.
loving women in circle.
Like you have said, and I'm starting to use that phrase now, the circle medicine is so real. Give
Yeah.
it like 10, 15 minutes in and you start feeling it. Like, especially when everyone is there. Well, if you've done the work like you have already done, so whoever comes to your circles are already there with good intention.
Yeah.
Because we know when what you know, a lot of times what you'll hear people women say is, "Oh, I don't even like women. I don't even like being around women."
Oh,
And there's some
Lord.
toxicity there. There's some toxicity with that
Yeah.
person, and so
Yeah.
and you know, I won't blame it on them, but we know it's all energy, right? And a lot of this competition and thing that we have versus each other as women, that's been by design.
Mhm.
But it's time to break that down and really understand like with the work that you do, connecting with your own divinity. If you connected with
Mm.
your own divinity, you can't hate on nobody else because you see that same divinity in them, especially
Yes.
another woman. And you be
Yes.
like, come on, sis, what we gonna create together? What we about to do? That's what I'm looking forward to. I mean, it's happening bit by bit, but we still got work to do.
Yeah, and the other thing too is we all have been that sister who's been competitive,
Mm-hmm.
backbiting. We've all done things. I will admit, I have done things to offend and, transgress against my sisters. And therefore, I can offer a lot of compassion and grace when a sister isn't there yet. It's,
Mm-hmm.
we can offer love and care and concern. That's really where we need to get to, is where we can be so healed up in our own selves that we can see the truth, even if a sister is coming to us in a way that appears to be hurtful,
Mm-hmm.
that we're so healed up in ourselves that we actually can see she's just hurt, wounded. One of I made a video today that I said, when we are traumatized, it essentially knocks you off your center. She's just off her center. When a
Mm-hmm.
woman gets healed up, and that's why I started doing the work that I do. Once a woman really begins to have that opportunity to heal, she soars. You can't take her off her track, and even if she does get off a little bit, she'll come right back. She has resilience to
Mm-hmm.
come back. So, yeah, I can offer love and gratitude to any sister because I've been that sister and I'm not even above it. Like, I have to offer apologies when I know I'm like, ooh, I went too far in that particular case, you know? It's like, okay, calm down, Tyra, tone it down. So,
That's actually real talk because even in the last week or 2 weeks, there have been situations where something's happening on the outside. I feel a certain way inside, and I'm like, "Ooh, that ain't divine. What's that? Oh, it ain't about that person. Let me go and find out why that feeling is coming up and what that's actually triggering and what was already there. Is it boundaries that I need to set? Is it more
yes.
compassion and love that I need to give to myself? Is
Mm,
it all of the above? Because it's not always
mhm,
the other person. Sometimes that is a toxic person that, like, I ain't ready to be around you like that.
mhm,
But I think it comes back to that's why I'm so thankful of the work that I've been doing with you this year because it has increased that resiliency, but not in a way that's detrimental to me. Like
yep,
I've withstood a lot
yep,
over the years, but it's all
mhm,
impacted me health
mm,
wise and
mm,
mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So
mm,
I can now stand and be resilient, but in a way that still leaves me intact and whole. At
mm,
least I'm getting
mm.
there. I ain't gonna say I can withstand anything because I still got to stay away from some people.
You know
But at
what
least I
though?
can see it now.
Your Baba Obafemi. I will quote this in a heartbeat. I can love you from the other side of town. All right. He said that's what his mama said. So I can love folks from the other side of town.
All
It's
right.
okay.
Bible Femi, for real, for real. I can love you from all the way over here. I can love you from another country. You know what I'm saying? Like it's all good. The love is still there. Love has no time and space.
Mhm.
So like what so the workshop that we have coming up on the 13th, healing from the inside out using self-hypnosis or hypnosis to heal the goddess way. So first let's talk about what that means, the goddess way. What does a goddess centered lifestyle mean? And why is that important for Black women? And I know your work is all women, but just for this workshop, because it's for, I've geared it towards Black women and femmes, and specifically for Black women, why is that goddess lifestyle important and what is it?
Yeah, well, you talked about it in the beginning, how there is this notion of the world being against us, and we have lived experience. We also have, I talk about epigenetics. We have this ancestral wounding that has been handed to us as Black women. And just in general, women are not taught to take care of themselves. It's part of just being a woman. I think anywhere in the world, that's how tough this message is. It's better to give than to receive, is the message that we get. And like you mentioned, how do we do it? We do it to our detriment. One thing I like to talk about, with Black women, is we're just natural activists,
Mhm.
advocates for sure, but activists.
Mhm.
Activists, that work ain't no joke. It's like everything we do, we are always thinking about our community and what we do, how is that going to impact our community? Our
Mhm.
community might be our family, our community might be the community at large. It's like this burden that we carry on our shoulders. And most of us are kind of waking up to like, okay, wait a minute. We dying more than everybody, faster than everybody. We sicker than everybody. Something's not adding up. And so what's not adding up is that we need to learn how to take care of ourselves first. It I tell Black women this all the time. You mean to tell me our ancestors went through all they went through for us to continue to do that? They dreamt of us. They dreamt that we would live a better life. They paid a price for us.
Woo.
And therefore, it is up to us to take what was given to us and take it to the next level. It's just my opinion. And,
Yes.
I'm willing at this point. I used to be kind of nervous about this, but at this point, I don't care. I'm willing to buck the system. I believe that we're here to be prosperous and abundant. I
I
don't
sure.
believe in being prosperous and abundant in a way that is to people's detriments. I just think we deserve our fair share of health, abundance of money, abundance of relationship, abundance of travel and good food, abundance of whatever you want in your life. It is time for us to start saying, you know what? I'm going to take care of who I'm supposed to take care of, but that's going to be after I take care of myself. It's time for us. Hey, Kia.
I know, right? Hey, girl, hey.
That's right. It's time for us to take care of ourselves. Okay. And so the
Hear
goddess
that.
centered lifestyle is designed to help you. Why do I call it the goddess centered lifestyle? Well, I connect with the goddess, but not everyone does. We can look at it as the divine feminine way. It's time for us to stop being so hyper masculine. It's time for us to stop work, 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 work. Half of us don't even know why we do it. We're programmed work hard for everything, work hard for everything. You don't deserve to just easily manifest anything. If you easily get something, then it may not necessarily be worth it, right? So, it's important
You
for
hit a
us to
spot right there.
understand.
Yeah, you hit a spot.
Uh-huh.
That's good. No, no, keep going.
Okay. So, what we need to understand is that we are women. We have a hormonal set that makes us need rest, that makes us need self-care, spending time with friends, going on vacation, curling up with our boo things. We just deserve this. We deserve to live, a life of pleasure. And
Mm.
so that means align with your energy. We out here living according to what society has said we're supposed to do, which is masculine. And I love men. I'm married. I have sons. I love men so much. I really do. But I'm not a man. Okay. I'm a woman. I'm a divine feminine, I'm a Black woman, right? So it's important for us to live aligned with our true nature. And so taking care of yourself and having spiritual practices that support your healing or that support your up level, this is the goddess centered lifestyle. And we're going to all feel better. I'm looking at you and I'm like, I don't know all the changes you've been through, but I can tell you what, since Barbara been living more in alignment with her feminine nature, establishing her goddess centered lifestyle, I'm just like, wow, Barbara's glowing. Go Ohuninifa.
It has been a journey. It has been a journey. And something that feeling like we have to, because, we've had this conversation, feeling like in order for me to get a thing, I got to strive for it, especially, being a Capricorn.
Oh, Lord.
What? I ain't climbing mountains to get this. This ain't a thing then. And so that has been a lifelong, not only inherited and taught to me by parents who were from the South and had to work for everything that they got and wanted to instill that in us, like it's kind of naturally there as a Capricorn, but is also detrimental. And it's something that you just said is that as that feminine energy, as women, our energetic, our makeup needs rest. It needs time off. It needs ease. It's not that it's a nice to have, but it's a requirement for us to then go forward and be the activists and the advocates for our families and communities, which is heavy, big work. So you got to have some, but we also need, and you said this at the beginning with the invocation and even what you just said, we still need that masculine energy. Every energy, every part of us has a role to play.
Yeah.
We just been all doing things in one way was given to us through patriarchy, slavery, and all the things. But yeah, I'm trying to what are other ways to bring things to me that I don't have to go out and strive for, because my ancestors already did that.
They already paid the price.
My mothers already did that. Now, I don't mean sit on your ass on a lily pad, but sometimes, but not all the time.
You cracking me up. Yeah, it's I'm gonna be honest with you. Even men need more of this feminine way. Like everybody needs more feminine energy because it's healing and it's a part of who and what we are. But I just think that it's time out for us to just stay broken and beat down and caring for everybody but ourselves. It's just the way we're going to reclaim our power is to take care of ourselves. That's just it. That's just how I see it. Yep.
So tell me a little bit more. So the workshop next week is about healing inside out and using hypnosis. And you mentioned that you are a certified hypnotherapist. Yes. So, first of all, there's people who are like hypnosis. So we all think about like the old TV shows with the clock swinging and the watch swinging and somebody barking like a dog. So dispel those myths and then maybe talk a little bit more about what that workshop will look like. And I'm adding a third piece, how hypnosis is a part of the goddess-centered lifestyle. Maybe even start with that. But basically those three things.
Yes. So I'll start off with the first one that you talked about, dispelling myths. One thing I'm going to start off by saying is this. You have been hoodwinked. You have been bamboozled into thinking that there's certain things that are good and things that are bad. I remember when I first started going to chiropractic, I learned about how the American Medical Association pretty much promoted chiropractic as quackery, and everybody just bought into it. It was just a campaign. Hypnosis is the same way. Hypnosis has been around since time memorial. Hypnosis is ancient. Hypnosis is a state, and hypnotherapy is where we begin to bring in some healing modality. It becomes something that we use for healing. But hypnosis is to be hypnotic is to be human. And so, people don't understand how we're made up. And so we are made to receive suggestions. We do this as children. When a child is born, you just keep saying that child's name over and over and over. Why do you think your name is Barbara? Because people said, Barbara, Barbara, Barbara.
And
enough.
expected me to
If
answer.
if they had called you Jane or whatever, you would have responded. If your first name was Ohuninifa, you would respond to Ohuninifa. It's called taking things into trance. All of us walking around in a trance. I promise y'all, when we think about when we go to watch something on TV, how many times have you watched something and you've said, I didn't even know I needed that until I saw that commercial, right? It's we live in a life that in a world that is constantly sending suggestions. We even make suggestions to ourselves because this is really what hypnotherapy is all about. It's about acknowledging a negative trance that a lot of us are in and saying we need to take that trance, release and let it go, and put ourselves into a healthier trance, a trance that's working for us. But how many times have we called ourselves things that are negative? Even if we think, no, I would never say something negative. If we go into the quiet recesses of our mind and just listen to what's there, if we think we've made a mistake, it'll be like, oh, why did you do that?
Mhm.
That's just so messed up. So and so said this about me. I'm gonna mess up at this, and look at this is exactly what happened. We or someone has said something to us. Think back when we were a child. Well, she just this, she just that. I can tell you right now. I remember always these comments about my body when I was a little girl. And at some point, I didn't care. Like I used to have this one aunt. She would just be like, not used to have this one aunt, but this one aunt used to say things like, "Oh, look at them big old pretty legs. You got legs just like your mama." So for me, that was a good trance. I was like,
Right.
"Oh, I got legs like my mama." Oh,
Right.
okay,
All right.
But then there were times when people were like, "You a big girl," and I'm like, even though when I look back at myself back in the
You
70s
know.
and the 80s, none
Mm-mm.
of us were big back then.
Mm-mm.
I was so slim. But anywho, it was just like these suggestions. And so as I get older, just because I'm a little bit taller than most women, maybe I have a little bit bigger frame, no matter what my size is, I'm always like, oh yeah, I'm bigger than everybody else. I'm so big. So but and I'll say, "Oh, I want to lose weight," right? But it's all this negative self-talk. We're just taking stuff into trance because this is how we are made up. We have what is called the subconscious mind. Again, you have been hoodwinked, bamboozled into not understanding the truth of who and what you are. So we have the subconscious mind, and anything that we say to ourselves or that we say to ourselves that other people said about ourselves, or maybe it's something from childhood, it gets programmed into us. And how do we make change? Well, you got to go into a hypnotic trance and take out what's there and install the new thing that you want to be there. And so the part of it that has to do with the goddess centered lifestyle is, first and foremost, hypnosis is very relaxing. When you go into hypnotherapy, it's very relaxing. That's part of being a part of the goddess tradition. And it's very feminine because when we think about feminine energy, it's more of a passive type energy. Now, it could be fierce. Don't get me wrong, y'all. I'm not diminishing the fierce faces of the goddess or all of these strong, powerful, fierce women.
People need to understand the actual technical definition of passive without the judgment on top of it.
Passive is life. This is Some things are going to be active and some things are going to
Yeah.
be passive. When you sleep, that's passive. You're not in an active state. It's a
Right.
good thing. Sleep is so healing, right? And so hypnosis is really about someone who wants to make a change, and but you want to do it in a more an easier way. Okay. And so for me, I'm just going to tell you really quickly, I found hypnosis in 2020. So it hasn't been that long. That's how much I got on this hypnosis train, baby. I was like, let's do this. There was a
Okay.
coach who was launching this program, and she was like, hey, if you want to buy this track, it's a part of this 5-day challenge. Just listen to it. And, it's going to help you better with manifesting. And so I was like, oh, I'm all in for this right here. I had bought it for my 50th birthday. So I was like, all right, let's do this. And the more I used hypnosis, the more I was like, there's something very, very special about this. Because I began to notice, and this is the other thing about how is it connected to the goddess-centered lifestyle? Because we want things to be easy. We want
Yeah.
flow, relaxation, right? And I just noticed it was just easier for me to think abundant thoughts. Me, somebody who watched The Secret when it was first released, got the DVD to prove it. How do you manifest? How do you work with the law of attraction? And why is it that it's like 2 steps forward and 3 steps back for me at times? I can make a little bit of progress, but then something will happen and I'll sabotage it. Well, hypnosis helps to make the transformations from thinking lack thoughts. For instance, this is just an example, to thinking abundant thoughts. And you literally are just having suggestions made to you. And so, tell me any questions, because I could just keep talking.
So the idea of when we even think about something like affirmations, it almost feels like the use of affirmations, saying these words repeatedly to yourself, is like hypnosis light work. Would it be on the same continuum as hypnosis? Not hypnosis, but on the same vibe of that?
Any suggestion you make to yourself. But the difference, I would say, so we have the conscious mind, and I think affirmations speak more to the conscious mind.
Okay.
And so the conscious mind is what we like to call the goal setter, but the subconscious mind is the goal getter, because the subconscious mind is what is ruling everything. And that is where change happens. And so when we do affirmations, a lot of times we're just saying them out loud, and that's a good thing. But if you were to say affirmations, if you would tell yourself, okay, I'm gonna let my, no, I'm gonna, you mentioned the clock. That, so if we take our eyes up, a lot of times in yoga, they'll tell you, look at your third eye, close your eye and look up at your third eye. As soon as you do that, you'll feel more relaxed, just immediately. That's really what the clock was about, is having people get themselves relaxed and into a trance state. And so for me, I always, before I knew anything about hypnosis, I would allow myself to, or I would go to bed listening to affirmations. To me, that's the better way to do it, because your conscious mind might be like, I don't know if this is really true.
I'll
But the
see that.
subconscious mind, when we can turn off, because there's a gatekeeper that gets set up, and we want to turn the gatekeeper off, and that is related to that conscious mind. So hypnosis is putting ourselves in a relaxed state, or a trance-like state, where you're not asleep, where you will not reject the suggestions that are made. Your subconscious mind can receive them and then begin to wrap around them and make them the new program. Because that's essentially what we're doing. We're taking out one program where you're like, this is not working for me, and we install a new program. So yes, the subconscious mind is the goal getter. And so if we want it to go get the goal, then what we have to do is to stop the subconscious mind from thinking and put into the subconscious mind what we want. And so the affirmations in a hypnotic way would be, you are kind of like tranced out and listening to them. Like, turn them on and just don't think about what you're listening to. Don't consciously think about it.
Right.
Just allow yourself to relax and almost just let your mind float away and just not be there, so that the subconscious mind can be what is listening, so that it can receive the new programming. So,
Man, even as you describe that, and I'm like, my mind makes mind movies when I hear things or when I read things. So
I
as I'm
get
even
that.
seeing that, I'm like, oh, the very nature of it. Okay, yeah, it is feminine, because you have to release and be in this receptive state, and this going into, if we think about like the Odus, Oyekumeji is the first. I know this is like beyond, this is Ifa stuff, but that dark matter consciousness, that is creation, where everything lives, that's feminine energy, like in its purest form. So you saying go into that dark matter of your own subconscious,
Yeah.
and clean out the muck that was placed there.
Well, to bring in Ifa, I'm like the least traditional Ifa priestess or Yoruba Orisha priestess. I'm initiated into Yemoja. And I used to say to Yemoja, because I have non-traditional parents like you, and they were kind of like, she'll tell you what you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So just go sit with her and she gonna tell you. So for years, I've just been like, okay, Yemoja, what's my work as, priestess of Yemoja? And she's the one that led me to hypnosis, because what is Yemoja? She is trance.
Of course.
She is the trance state. The other thing too is hypnosis is very nurturing. When we're thinking about that subconscious mind, the subconscious mind is like running the show. That's Big Mama right there. That
Also,
ain't
I was
nothing but
just
Big
thinking,
Mama.
that's Big Mama.
And then you even think about water. Yemaja is this energy of water. And, I'm also a Pisces. And so I connect Yemaja to Pisces. And Pisces is the subconscious mind. And so, this to me is another explanation of the feminine nature of hypnosis, and even the connection to Ifa or other, African traditional religions, just that energy of the mother is
Yes.
is hypnosis. And
Ashe.
so if you really want something to change, you got to go to the motherboard. And the motherboard is not that thinking brain. The motherboard is that inner world that most nobody even takes time to get to know and understand, but it's running everything.
Ashe.
And so that's
Yeah.
what we want to do next week.
Yes.
You
That's what I
said
was
that
going
you're
to say.
wanting to help women heal. And so I'm going to bring in a hypnosis that has to do with healing. And then the gift is going to be a recording that you can continue to listen to as long as you need to. It could be a change in a day, or it can be a change a little bit over time, just kind of depending on how how much is the subconscious mind really able to like make the change without the conscious mind coming in and
Right.
creating like, girl, we ain't doing that. But yeah, it's all about healing. And I'll just say this too before I turn it back over to you. What is it that you want to change in your life? Hypnosis can help you get there. Hypnosis makes change easier.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that part of the reason hypnosis has been given a bad reputation is the same reason that, say, for instance, divination is given a bad reputation. Baby, it works. Okay.
And we only got time for what works, because if you're trying to have a life of ease and relaxation and pleasure and being receptive to all the good instead of striving and struggling for it, you only got time to do what works. You ain't got time to just be doing stuff so you can look busy. No, we've done that
Mm-mm.
already. We're moving
Already
forward.
did that. Yeah.
Yes. And so thank you for that. So people get an idea. So folks that sign up for the workshop, they'll participate in the workshop, and then they'll have a freebie a free resource that they can use so they can continue to work. Because the thing with all of these workshops is to during this Venus retrograde, which I have to mention, it was you who brought it to my attention. Like, we in Venus retrograde, everybody, we need to be going inside and relaxing. And I'm like, but dang, why am I doing this? Because I did divination to confirm to do this workshop series at this time. And I was like, oh, I see. Venus is like, yeah, you're gonna go in, but give the people some tools on what to do while they in there.
Self-care
And
summer is what I call it.
really, wow, that's exactly what's happening too. And it's even just for me personally. But so they'll get that. And is there anything that people, just going back to the workshop, the hypnosis, is there anything that people should bring? It sounds like they need to bring an open mind. The more open they can be consciously, the more the hypnosis can work for them. Anything else that you would suggest or recommend that people come prepared with?
Yeah, just know that all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. There's no
Ashe.
suggestion I can make to you that you don't want, that your subconscious mind will receive. If you're not aligned with what I would bring, then your subconscious mind will reject it. I'm about women's empowerment, and hypnosis is something that is definitely about empowerment. But, y'all have heard Barbara talk about me. The only thing I'm bringing, my thing is this: If I'm gonna program you with something, it's gonna be you're great. Okay, so just know I'm bringing the juice. Okay, I'm here to talk to you about your greatness as a Black woman, as a feminine being, as this goddess incarnate. And
Mm-hmm.
so you don't have to worry about not being safe. I got you. But just know all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. And maybe you want to bring, I'm going to talk a little bit about hypnosis before we actually get started, and make sure that y'all understand what we're going to do. I'm doing something very light. It will not be anything deep. It's really designed to help bring about more relaxation next week. So you'll love it. And so you might, if you're in a room that's a little bit cold, you might want to like bring something to cover yourself up with. Maybe a journal, to just do a little bit of journaling if something comes to you. But otherwise, I got you, sister.
Ashe, Ashe, I love it. I'm excited. I think, it's been really impactful and important for me doing this kind of hypnosis work. All the things that I've learned from you this year have just like, I understand. I told this to you months ago. I understand my ancestors was like, this is the next thing for you. You need this. You need her.
Oh, that makes me feel so good.
I didn't even know it. I didn't even know what this year was about to bring me. But man, you already know. And I have another testimonial come October, this new Libra new moon, but we'll talk about that separate time.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This Libra new moon is going to be one for the books. You just heard me take that side because it's like, whenever I'm dealing with the eclipses, I'm like, oh my God.
Oh yeah, it's an eclipse. And a new. Yeah.
And you want me to tell you what else too? I know this is off hypnosis, but
it's all good. It's goddess.
It's goddess. The moon is hypnosis, to be honest with you, because it's about our inner world. And eclipses is digging up all your stuff in your subconscious mind too. Anyway, both that new moon in Libra is an eclipse, and then there's going to be eclipse in the full moon in Taurus. Venus, Oshun, folks like, oh, Venus, Oshun, so sweet, and they taking names and kicking, but I don't know what road to Oshun this is gonna be. But we all better be ready. And we got Venus retrograde right now too.
She getting ready. She peeling back. And she's like, we got work to do. I mean, okay, yeah, we're going. I just have to say, yeah, we're going off topic a little bit, but I am not a priest, but I am a child of Oshun. And what always gets me is when people just be like, oh yeah, I'm so sexy. I love sex. And that's what Oshun is about. Oshun, you got to understand, is a war. They all are warriors, to be clear. She just does it. And the energy convergence that we call Oshun, just does it in a way that is using her feminine energy to do that. But to be clear, the example that really made it life for me is when I was reading Apocryphy and it was talking about the ebo that you needed to give for Oshun. If she takes a he-goat, the he-goat needs to be castrated. Like that tells you a lot of things right there. Like specifically, it needs to be a he-goat that's castrated.
Wow. Okay.
And that's not to say to emasculate men, but what that really says to me is that she's fierce. Yeah. And being that story of being the one that flew as the vulture. Well, actually, she wasn't the vulture when she started flying, but to get to Olodumare and just weathered the storm and got burnt up and all the feathers gone and almost died, but made it there at the feet of Olodumare to speak on behalf of humanity. Who else doing that? So yeah, she cute, but don't get it twisted.
And I also think it just diminishes her like the totality of who and what she is, to have her just kind of like drilled down into this. I mean, it is who she is, but that's not the totality of what she is. And we're really missing out, because what I like to say about Oshun is she birthed the whole oracle, baby. This is very powerful wisdom. The Meridian Lagoon system. This is founded or created, birthed through Oshun, through getting over, but yeah, I tell people do not sleep on Oshun.
Yeah.
Let's not get it twisted.
And don't
Well, yeah.
apply human fallacies and shortcomings to the Orisha. Don't apply this Oshun and Umoja don't like each other, because that's human stuff. The energies are the energies. They do what they do. Like, but again, we
And it's
digress.
no wonder that if that's the way we see the Orisha, why do we get along the way we do? Oh, Yamaja and Oshun can't get along. Well, we should not be getting along then, but we do. So, but I don't subscribe to that. I don't I reject that part of all the stories. I'm not trying to be teaching these stories about these female Orisha fighting over one male Orisha. You can forget that. Baby, it's enough men out here for all of us. We can all have our man, okay?
And if we share them, it's because that's how we wanted to do that. It's like, sis, I got a good one who gave some good babies. You want this one for a while? Not in this life. I ain't doing that. Not intentionally anyway, but I'm just saying. All right, we digress. Let me bring it back to hypnosis in the workshop next week. Woo! Okay, so August 13th, there's information scrolling at the bottom here and also linked in the description where you can get your tickets. I think I added in, if not, I'm going to go back and add a discount code, because I want people to show up live, because there's a healing and a medicine that happens if you're able to make it live on that date. It's at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. So there's a discount code so you can make it there live. If not, the replay will be for sale later as well, but I'll add that to the description just in case I didn't before, because I don't remember if I did. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And thank you so much, Iya, because I know like you were very clear, this is self-care summer, but I got you at the time towards the end in August when you could do this. So I appreciate you spending some time and doing this for the Beautiful, Powerful Love community.
I look forward to that.
And before we go off, I probably should have done this earlier. I'm getting my YouTube situation together. Tell the folks how to like and subscribe to you, and then I'll do the same for, well, this is being streamed on both of our channels, but like and subscribe to both our channels, basically. And if you're watching on Facebook, do the same. But the names of all of your websites and YouTube channel?
Yes, my website is goddessbodymindspirit.com, goddessbodymindspirit.com. And just go find me on YouTube, TI2RA. You can see my name, and my spiritual name is Omilade, Omilade. And yeah, on YouTube. If you just look for Tyra Goddess on YouTube, trust me, you will find me.
Yes, with all of the fire content, especially around new moons, which you have a new moon circle coming up, right? Next week, that's open to the public?
On the 15th.
Okay. We'll talk more.
There'll be information on my YouTube channel about that.
Okay, perfect. And then you also do live streams at full moons, right? Around full moons.
I do a live stream for every full moon, and I go live every Wednesday at 9:15 a.m. Eastern time. And we call that the Inspired Goddess Morning Circle. We have what is called the G Hive. G stands for Goddess. It's a beautiful community. Folks just see each other on live stream and we feel like we know each other.
For real.
But yeah, I love YouTube is my thing. Like, that's how so many people have found me. So yeah, find me on YouTube. Let me know that you found me through Barbara, all that kind of good stuff. I would love to hear from you.
Thank you. And then for the folks watching this, definitely share this video, share the video and the upcoming workshop with other women that could benefit from this as well. But also like and subscribe. This is streaming through my channel, Beautiful, Powerful Love, on YouTube. Same thing on Facebook. I'm just building my YouTube, so please subscribe and like and ring the bells on both of ours so that you know when we go live at times like this. And we can start to cross promote and actually do have more community globally, because we got a lot ahead of us. And so we got tools that we can use, and we're going to keep sharing those tools and building community and buck this trend or previous condition of this competition between women, because as we rise, we all rise together, period. As we heal together. And with that, I say Odabo, which is bye-bye. I say goodbye. I say peace, deuces, all the things. And thank you for joining us. See you next
Thank
time.
y'all.